Hello and welcome. I'm Tom Palmer. I'm the CPO of Helicon NFT. With me today, I have Bad Fox and Friends. They are the first gaming developers to join our network, and we're going to find a little bit more about who they are and why they decided to join us. So welcome, Devin and Eddie. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good,
Thanks
thank you.
having us.
All the way over from the UK. I appreciate you guys taking that trip for us to come out here. I hope you're not too tired. So tell me a little bit more about yourself, if you would. How did you get into gaming? Why did you want to become a gaming developer?
Yeah, definitely. I've been into games all my life. It's what I've done since I could hold a controller and walk, basically.
Yeah.
When I've played games, it's always been, why is it fun? What are the game developers actually doing? How have they made it so that I've sunk like 1,000 hours into this, right?
Yeah.
That's my passion, is understanding why games work the way they do and the psychology behind them. So I was looking to get into gaming studios, found Bad Fox through friends, and they're a fantastic gaming studio, and I'm amazingly glad to be a part of them.
Awesome, thank you. And Devin, yourself, tell me about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a friend of the Bad Fox Studios. I've got a background in economics and finance. I've had a keen interest in crypto and blockchain pretty much since 2016, and kind of started becoming, more interested in it recently.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so as Bad Fox Studios then, as I understand it, you guys created an IP called Super Squad. I had to play with it, it's really fun. But it's not a blockchain game.
No.
No. So why did you decide to then create this new IP now called Bionic Brawlers that is a blockchain game?
Well, I mean, NFTs and blockchain games are, in my opinion, the future of gaming. Mm-hmm. It is giving gamers true ownership of their assets, because at the moment, someone can play a game for 1,000 hours and they buy loads of skins, they've got loads of weapons, but then they decide to leave the game at a later point and it's all lost, right?
Yeah.
They never get anything for it, or the game studio closes down and then they literally don't have anything.
Yeah.
Whereas true ownership from NFTs through the blockchain means that they have the ability to, when they leave, sell their assets and actually make a little bit of money out of it. That's the true power of it.
Seems fair, right?
Yeah,
we think so too. Okay, so tell me a little bit more about Bionic Brawlers. As I understand it, it's quite an extensive game. It's a lot more than just an RPG. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about the game itself and how the user experience might be?
Yeah, of course. So there are two main aspects to the game. There is the land side, and then there is the combat side. The land side has land NFTs that people are able to buy. They can then work the land or have others work the land for small tax. You generate resources, generate tokens, and those are then used to mint NFTs. Right. And you can shape the direction of the NFT that you're creating through the resources that you put in other NFTs. Those NFTs can then be used on your gathering bots, which are used to work the land, or your combat bots, which are used to battle. During battles with combat bots, the NFTs determine the stats and the abilities and your kind of play style. It's really you define the way you want to play. Like, do you have a drill? Does it have like armor pen on it? Do you have a laser sword? Is it got AoE? You mix and match and really understand the way the meta of the game is evolving and go down that route.
Interesting, yeah. So that's where we come into the play to earn, right? So everyone's going to end up with a different robot based on how they actually play the game. Could you tell us a little bit more about play to earn and why you see that as the future of gaming?
Yeah, sure. So play to earn basically empowers gamers. It allows gamers through NFTs to actually own the in-game assets that they work on, that they essentially own, that they upgrade, and also the whole in-game tokenomics perspective allows people to extract value from this game. So people can play the game, they can earn tokens, earn resources, upgrade these NFTs that they own, and players can do what they want with these. They can sell them on the marketplace, they can trade them, and they can use this to essentially earn an income from these games. If a gamer becomes bored of a game and wants to stop playing it, they can then exit that game, sell the NFTs that they have managed to upgrade, get to these levels, and then take that money and start a new game.
Interesting. Yeah, sorry, I got a fly on my face there. Yeah, so that's really interesting. It sounds like you've been playing some games before that didn't offer the gamers those sort of functionalities. Do you have a bit of a story about that?
Yeah, so I used to be a pretty avid gamer myself. There was a game in particular that I played. You know, I racked up over 400 days game time on this game. I got my player to a really high level. I accumulated loads of, you know, expensive assets in the game, loads of gold in the game, but when I wanted to stop playing it, there was no way that I could extract that value. That was basically lost. All the time, all of the hours and the energy that I spent playing this game was essentially stuck in there, and there was no way that I could extract this value. If I wanted to go and sell this player, or if I wanted to go and sell the items that I had, I would be breaching in-game rules. I would then have to go and trade this to, you know, a kind of off-game marketplace, trust this person that I'm giving all these valuable items to, that they're actually going to pay me, which made the whole process inefficient and didn't really work. Now, Play-to-Earn gaming essentially allows gamers to do this, you know, as part of the actual gaming structure. You can go and exit your in-game NFTs, assets, items. You can sell these, get an income from them. The gold and in-game tokens that you're actually earning from playing it has an intrinsic value. These can be traded on an exchange, and you can pretty much extract that value as a gamer if you want to exit or just earn an income.
Yeah, well, that's really fascinating. And at Helicon NFT, we believe in the play-to-earn concept as well. It's about putting the power back into those gamers' hands and giving them ownership and control of their own assets. So going forward with the further IPs, is this something that you're going to be focusing on? It's just blockchain and making sure that everyone does have that fair exchange? It's
definitely one of the routes to go down. I see it as the future of gaming, but not everyone is on board with it at the moment. I do understand it's very new. NFT art, NFT in games, very new concept. So Super Squad, which we'd made before, is non-NFT, but Bionic Brawlers, NFT, and it's the direction we're going for this IP.
Right.
It's definitely a direction that we can go for future IPs.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's not just going to be a one-off game either. It's just going to keep evolving and expanding, especially when you're talking about the virtual land and perhaps even when we're talking about the Metaverse, even that virtual land crossing over and having real-world impact in some way as well.
Well, this is the pro of Helicon in our eyes, is that it is a true ecosystem with a plethora and myriad of tools that you can actually use as a game developer. So multiple IPs on Helicon will give us the ability to have tokens traded between games, assets kind of sold, and then players churning out of one game going into another one. It's a streamlined process for us.
Yeah, that's fascinating as well. And again, when it comes down to the Metaverse, a lot of people are using it as a sort of, you know, hot topic word at the moment, and they keep throwing it around. But we believe as Helicon NFT that if you can't exchange things in between games, if you can't extract value out of those games, there is no Metaverse when it comes to gaming. What Facebook or Meta are doing is slightly different in that instance. So how can we expand the Metaverse through developers and through the games that we're putting out there? Any one of you guys?
Very tricky question right there. It is a multifaceted approach where you need a lot of different game developers coming on and making games for the Helicon platform, in my eyes. Because if you have assets being created and agreements with different studios, they can then have different IPs that share similar assets which can then be used, because you need developers' agreements between each other to have an asset, right?
Yeah, everyone would have to play nice in that instance, yeah.
Everyone would have to
play nice. Yeah, so that's what we're doing at Helicon. You know, we don't want to take anything away from what developers have or what they're building. We actually want to enhance it. We want to add that new layer of revenue. Tell us about royalty mechanics when it comes to creating NFTs within the games as well.
So, in my mind, NFTs for games and the royalty mechanic there is one of the best things for game developers, because there's a cycle for gamers, right? So you play a game, start playing it, you're a new player, you're retained for a certain amount of time, and then you churn out, right? That, you know, cool, that's what happens now. But if everything in a game is an NFT, when they leave, they are then able to sell the assets inside of their account, and as the developer, we would have royalties to the NFTs that have been created in the game because we're the proprietor. We made them, right? They were minted by someone else, but it's our IP, so we'd get a small royalty kind of percentage of the transaction. So you're actually diversifying a gaming studio's revenue stream by allowing NFTs inside of a game. And then any subsequent sale of an NFT before someone churns out between active and retained players is further revenue.
Yeah, absolutely. And then further on from that as well, I mean, you can create these new NFTs specifically for, a certain season of a game or for an esports tournament down the line as well. And of course, that in itself, through a play-to-earn concept of someone winning that, would have a higher value because it could be a one-of-one and no one else can get their hands on it.
Yeah.
During lockdown last year, I got pretty into Call of Duty Mobile. I was buying the skins and the battle passes and everything. And then once the lockdown lifted and I went back out into the real world, I haven't opened the game since, but the money that I spent on there is still sat there in the game, and I've got no way of getting that out. And that's why I find this really fascinating, is if I choose to start another game, I should be able to cash that in, or at least cash out or have a value exchange of some kind.
Yeah, no, 100%. That is the next evolution of the games industry in my mind. It's true ownership for the player, because at the moment it is technically owned by the game studio, which isn't fair. I mean, you've paid for this asset and it should be yours, right? So that is the next step for me. That's true fairness in the gaming industry.
That's interesting. And we mentioned earlier an in-game currency as well, Devin. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Is it in itself a cryptocurrency? Is that going to have value outside of the game itself?
Yeah, so play-to-earn games generally have a crypto token inside of them. So through playing the game, players will earn this token, which they will have different utilities. So you can use these tokens to mint NFTs, to upgrade things within the game, and essentially interact with the gaming ecosystem. Now, these tokens, because they are on a distributed ledger, on a blockchain, can be taken and used on an exchange to buy, sell, or trade as you need to. So this allows players to come into the game and play it just for an income. You can get your NFTs within the game. You can strategize in a way that you earn more tokens from the way that the NFTs you use and the way that you're playing the game. And these players can actually earn an income through trading these off-platform or off of the game to make an income.
Yeah, okay, fascinating. And I think you guys have put together a little showreel for us, actually. So we'll take a look at that right now. That looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So where are you guys at in your roadmap at the moment? Where are you up to? When can we expect to start seeing a sort of alpha version of the game, perhaps?
So we've currently gone through the concepting stage. So we've got all the details ironed out in terms of what do we want to achieve from this.
Okay.
We're then going to go into a short pre-production phase, and then 6 months after that we will have our first playable version of the game, which is where we'll launch our token. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, is the case?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Great. Yeah, no, well, it's really exciting. I'm really glad that you guys are choosing Helicon to launch this with. I feel like we're both going to develop our future roadmap together because of this, and onboarding future developers and further IPs with you going forward. We're also talking about our own Helicon Titan game in the future. That's going to be a bit of a longer roadmap as we want to create the properly for blockchain. We want to create what we would call now a AAA game based on the blockchain that has esports functionalities and NFTs as well, of course. So that's going to be very exciting, and we look forward to working with you guys on that as well. I know that you guys are going to be here for a little while, so thank you very much for joining me and talking to us about your game, explaining it to us, and yeah, thank you very much for being here.
No, thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.